Hello, and welcome to Bedtime Stories Next to the Fire with Milan Homola, co-founder and executive director of Compassion Connect. And I have an aptly named bedtime story of Annual Report 2020 edition. Um, I'm joking, but inside it is full of stories and pictures, which those are the key elements of a great storybook. So let's dive in. Thought it'd be fun to just give a little personal highlight reel, Cliff Notes version of the annual report so that you can check it out on your own and dive in a little bit more. Here on the inside cover, mission, vision, really clear up front, right there. And then you have this good looking guy over here down in the corner. I just put a letter together, wanted to talk about the year, thought a lot about like, what did we go through? What are we still going through? What can we learn from it? And just really come back to being so inspired and appreciative of volunteers who, in the midst of a pandemic where the world is saying, and other issues that happened in 2020, it's better to isolate, it's better to think about yourself. We have volunteers and donors who said the opposite. We are going to press in, and we know that people are slipping through the cracks even more because of the pandemic. And we're going to press in and serve and give and be part of this movement of unity and compassion. So just so appreciative of that and want everyone to feel that as they go through this. Here's a great visual, right? Bedtime stories, visuals, you like pictures, not a lot of words. Here it is. This is what we do. We help churches, we equip them, inspire them. Churches are filled with individuals, followers of Jesus who want to make a difference. We help them do that through these models of unity and compassion, clinics, care center, bridal shop, design studio. That's what we're doing. That's what these stories are going to be about. Here's a timeline, history degree, love timelines. There's some great highlights here. One I'm going to point out is just very proud of our Puget Sound team that launched an epicenter, had never done a clinic before, and in the midst of a pandemic in September, with very safe measures, pulled off their first compassion clinic. It's inspiring more neighborhoods and communities in that area, and they're going to have more in 2021. So just very excited about that. And the fact that our clinic teams, when COVID hit, right away decided, hey, we're going to just give all the PPE that we have. We need to get it to the hospitals that need it and just give sacrificially. Here's a little bit more about the clinics, deeper dive, some great quotes and stories. One point that I just struck me was that 53% of guests that are surveyed coming to compassion clinics are saying that they are uninsured. That's about 5 times as many as the average US percentage. So 10% of US adults are uninsured, but 53% of clinic guests in the United States are uninsured, which says the clinics are getting into the right neighborhoods with the right groups of volunteers and churches to lead them. Here's a full summary of the clinics, the value of impact from the clinics in 2020, and the churches that did it, the volunteers. This model is now going on its 15th year, and we're very excited about how it continues to adapt. Here's a great little metric study project we got to go through. If you love metrics, if you love pie charts, if you love asking tough questions about are the values actually advancing, this is your page, because we asked a tough question. Is the Compassion Clinic model, one of our many models, is it really working? Not just are we seeing teeth pulled and that, but are the values working? And my favorite is that the key volunteers that are volunteering in compassion clinics are saying that there are 90% of them basically who said, because I participated in the clinics, I am now feeling much more connected to the broader, beautiful, diverse body of Christ in my neighborhood. This is the anti-exploitation model, the dress shop, the design studios, things that really are helping the church stand up and fight the darkness of sexual exploitation in our neighborhoods. One number here that really stands out is COVID disproportionately impacted the youth that we work with, boys and girls. It disproportionately impacted teenagers in general. If you look at the stats, if you look at the numbers, the society that's very isolated, driven to phones and all of that stuff. What we saw is that 87% of the youth who were surveyed said that they felt supported and loved by their design studio mentor in the midst of COVID. And so, what that tells us is that these beautiful volunteers who could have just said, you know what, I'm going to stop, I'm going to pause, it's too hard right now because of a pandemic. They reached out, they continued to mentor virtually, they continued to stay in touch with the youth who are facing steep challenges, increased online predators, increases in domestic issues such as addiction and abuse. And so we're really proud of the volunteers who just did an amazing job pressing in when the world gave them every reason not to. Here's sort of a summary of that, a beautiful story about volunteers stepping in, helping with a Thanksgiving meal for a family that was really missing out on Thanksgiving because of COVID. Just coming around these families and showing the dignity, the value, and the worth of every human soul. It's about honoring others and recognizing just how beautiful they are. Here's a great visual. This is sort of the national picture of where are the epicenters happening for Compassion Connect, what's going on. I'm sitting by the fire. It's 0 degrees outside. That means I'm here in Minnesota, hoping that all of you who are listening to this, enjoying this bedtime story, are not experiencing 0 degrees. But here's just a fun look at how the Lord is just faithfully giving us new opportunities and new leaders to inspire and equip on this movement of unity and compassion. It wouldn't be a good story if there wasn't a call to action, a way to put it into practice. And so here's our get involved. There's so many great simple on-ramps to just say, you know what, I want to continue making a difference, or it's time. It's time that I stand on the side of unity and compassion and love. And one way that I want to point this out here, there's a lot of great opportunities. Just a simple one, join us on social media. That's an environment, that's a battleground where there's just antagonistic division and hatred. We're telling a better narrative. We're telling a narrative of the God of the universe who loves everyone and desires oneness in his community, because that's where human flourishing can happen. And so be a part of sharing that story, telling that story, share the post. We're constantly putting up great stuff there. And here's the wrap up the story with some numbers. So if you hadn't fallen asleep in this bedtime reading, now's a good time if numbers do that for you. Or if you're excited by numbers, here you go. One number to point out, $1.7 million. That's the value of impact in the works of all these communities that are uniting to serve in their own backyard, missions in their own backyard. They produced this amount in a year filled with uncertainty, filled with challenges to operating these models. And so it's more than a number, right? This is about volunteers. It's about donors who are making a difference when the world tells them, you know what, it's better to focus on yourself and isolate, take care of yourself, take care of me. We are part of a community, a family, people who are motivated by a different value set. And so that's represented here in this number. And I'm so proud of being part of this community. It's such a joy. And I'm excited to see what 2021 has for us, as we know the questions aren't all answered, and we don't necessarily need answers. There's a call to patient endurance, that we would grow this character. And so I'm inviting you into that. If you want to learn more, if you want to read this in greater detail, I invite you to do that. There's a website in the description of this video. You can do that. You can take the next step and pursue with us unity and compassion for the sake of the good news of Jesus in 2021. Have a great day.